good afternoon. Appreciate you guys showing up for this afternoon's training on the inner know-it-all. Do you have an inner know-it-all? Is it ruining your life? Is it ruining your health, your happiness, even your healing, whether that's physical, emotional, or mental healing? I bet you do. Now, the inner know-it-all can also be termed as like an inner critic, but this is a part of ourself that tends to think it knows the outcome to everything. And so it dictates like, hey, man, that's not going to happen. Oh, that's not possible. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. We can't do that. This is the language of the inner know-it-all. This is the part of you whose job is to protect you from uncertainty, from the unknown, and from, hurting yourself, right? The problem is that tends to backfire in a world where, hi, Laura, how are you? And happy holidays. And your birthday. I know I'm right, and my birthday. So, I think I'm right. My memory's been terrible lately. But if I'm not, tell me. But I think it's this month. Because I know Diane's is this month, right? So, all right. Anyway, Laura and I have been friends for, 30 years. A good long time. And December, right? Okay, well, I'm in the vicinity. So, okay, cool. Anyhow, so the know-it-all tends to get in the way of our happiness and our healing by dictating an outcome it cannot know. And I'm a pro at this. I'm a highly analytical person, so I know a lot of things. And what happens in our brain when we think we know a lot of things is we get this thing called confirmation bias, where we think things are a specific way and we run at it, and then boom, we are creating self-fulfilling prophecies that actually defeat our potential, that defeat our brilliance, they defeat our happiness. They get in the way of what we can be. And in codependency, we do this through being a perfectionist. We do this by absorbing knowledge but not putting it into action, right? We're not interested in the actual outcome. We're interested in living in the fantasy of this thing, of this, knowledge. This is one of the major hurdles that prevents people from actually accomplishing genuine healing, a literal release from being codependent or being stuck in a narcissistic relationship or perpetual cycles of ineffectual friendships, relationships, jobs, businesses. Guys, this is defeating your brilliance. It's defeating your happiness. It's in the way, and you've got to be honest with yourself. Am I really screwing my life up with my inner know-it-all by believing I know what the outcome is? Hey, Melissa. Yeah, me too. I do this a lot. We have to be very honest with ourselves about breaking through this, because like this month, the big theme is brilliance, because I've opened the doors to my Brilliant Mastermind. This is where we go through a 12-month process in defeating the know-it-all and turning it into a do-it-all, into a be-it-all, to an experience-it-all. Guys, we're here to experience. We're not here to live in a fantasy. We're not here to try to figure things out and then know the thing. We're here to go through and experience it for ourselves. It's a lot like going to Disney World or Disneyland and not doing anything. Like, yeah, I see the ride over there. I'm going to imagine what it feels like. No. Get on the ride, find out for yourself. Stop believing your conclusion. So I've written some notes here to give me some structure on this, because my brain tends to run everywhere with this stuff. So here's some questions you can ask yourself to identify your know-it-all if you've got one. I bet you do. You shoot down your own inspiration with facts and prediction, especially predictions from the past. You conclude that the outcome of something without doing it. Well, it's going to be like this, so I'm not going to do it. I do that still quite a bit. I have to, especially in marketing. Boom. Gotta really, if you're in business for yourself, this is going to shoot you in the butt. You've got to tackle the know-it-all. You choose from things you can reliably predict the outcome from, i.e. self-fulfilling prophecies, things you can control, things you got some wisdom on. Yay. You're not growing. You're stagnating when you're in that space, especially if you have a desire that demands that you go beyond that comfort zone. Big deal. because we're not here to just stagnate and sit in the pond and not do anything. We're here to actuate in life, to affect life, to do, to contribute, to experience, whatever that is, guys. It doesn't mean big things. It doesn't mean small things. Those are just judgments on it. It's what brings you love. It's what brings you joy. Because ultimately, know-it-allism cuts you off from your joy. It cuts you off from your intrinsic ability for happiness, for contentment, for experience, for actually doing things that really make you feel alive. Another thing that can tell you if you're living or you're operating from your know-it-all is you live in Conclusionville. Conclusionville is this term I use to describe the habit of creating a conclusion to every opportunity or possibility we perceive or that others perceive. Oh, well, it'll be this way, and it'll be this way, and it'll be this way. We're not open to receiving something different. Instead, we want to control that outcome, so we choose something we can predict or can feel like we have control over at a high degree of confidence there. We also analyze everything before we make a choice. Everything's got to be analyzed to ad infinitum. We got to just make sure everything has to be in order before I do it, and it's got to be in this particular way, and I'm going to go over here and try this, and no. Now, that's our know-it-all trying to reason out a conclusion, trying to control an outcome. Now, analysis has a really important component for looking at an actual situation and seeing what is going on and then making some wise decisions from that. But that doesn't come from the know-it-all. That comes from presence and awareness along with knowledge. Because the know-it-all isn't knowledge. The know-it-all takes knowledge and creates conclusions out of it, and then you believe that conclusion is a fact, and then voila, you've gotten nowhere in your life. You're still stuck in your codependency. You're still stuck in your trauma. You're still stuck in your fear. Because you think they're all real, especially the fear. When you believe your fear, you're screwed. But when you start questioning your fear, doubting the fear, asking what else is possible, but curiosity into any of those things, they lose their power, and you can start to see reality from a very tangible point of view. The next signal, and the big one, is that you're dealing with your know-it-all here, is you are resisting new outcomes and information that contradict your personal conclusions. Okay? The reality is big. The world is big. There's a lot of different outcomes possible. Outcomes can be a result of specific kinds of steps, specific kinds of energy plus steps, points of view plus steps, mindset plus steps, whatever it might be. And very few outcomes are based on just luck. A lot of times we think people are lucky, when in reality these people are working their asses off to get through to that outcome by working on their mindset, their energy focus, their curiosity, and their action set. That's what we have to really come to honesty with ourselves. Am I sabotaging my own happiness, my own brilliance, my own love? If I'm out there to get a new job, for instance, that's a big thing for a lot of clients right now. How am I sabotaging that with my know-it-all? If I'm out there for a new relationship, real love that doesn't have anything to do with narcissism, but love that has to do with being seen and felt and valued and respected and honored, how am I sabotaging that with my know-it-all? Right? I bet you are. Maybe you're in business and you're transitioning or pivoting your business. How is my know-it-all in the way? How is it limiting my ability to see a bigger potential for my business, for myself, for the way I'm going to contribute to the world? That kind of thing. Maybe you're a bystander and you're watching people pursue their dreams. How's your know-it-all interfering with how you perceive them? Maybe you've got judgments or conclusions about what they're attempting to accomplish. Guys, our know-it-all gets out there and it thinks it knows the future. I guarantee it doesn't know the future. You do not know what your potential is. So stop trying to measure it. Especially stop trying to limit it and start asking yourself the question, what could I do? What can I do? What else is possible now? I mean, it's the only reason I'm here talking to you on Facebook is because I have a belief that I can make a huge impact in people's lives. And I have done that. That's a demonstrable thing. You go to the website and you can look at the testimonials. You can talk to people in my community. You can ask questions on my wall. People will tell you the impact I've made in their lives. But that started with getting out of my know-it-allism and getting into my curiosity. This is how we deal with the know-it-all. We come back to question. We come back to curiosity. We come back to what else is possible for us. And this is it's a broken record with me, guys, because our mindset is essential to our healing. And having a healing-based or brilliance-based mindset starts with curiosity. It starts with living in a question rather than a conclusion. And fundamentally essential to understand that when we tap into the brilliance of that question, what else is possible now, which comes from the Access Consciousness System, we start tapping into our own internal awareness, our own internal revelator, per se, that gives us insight in how to do a thing, when to do a thing, what to do. We're not going to be sure if it's going to work or not, guys. Not a big deal. So what if it doesn't work? We learn. When I was doing computers, this is what made me very, very effective in them. I solved problems that professionals at the time couldn't solve. Because I stepped back and I stopped thinking, and I stopped analyzing, and I started listening. And curiosity is about listening because we ask a question. When we ask questions, what do? We listen. We need to listen to what starts coming into our awareness, and then we can act on that through experiments. That's the other trick with the know-it-all is since it's got its conclusion, it's not going to experiment. With the curiosity component, when we adopt curiosity and integrate it, we win because now we can do experiments and discover reality. That means we can move forward in our healing. We can move forward in our happiness. Because our happiness and healing are unique to us, right? There are things we discover in our healing and happiness that reveal ourselves to ourselves. And I call this our personal brand of happiness. So what brings me happiness isn't going to bring you happiness. It really actually doesn't matter. There are 3 specific ingredients to all happiness. And that is you need to know your value, your voice, and your vision. Ironically, and also very conveniently, these 3 ingredients are what end our need to be codependent. They end our need to stay stuck in healing loops. They end our need to constantly seek. And it asks us to receive instead. Because when we know our value by feeling it, experiencing it, expressing it, then we can hear our voice and follow the vision that voice gives us. This is where we become inspired in our lives. This is where we find the dream that really grips us. Maybe we have a vision for our particular kind of relationship or wealth or business or purpose or job. It's all rooted in understanding these things. Your know-it-all is getting in the way of knowing your value, your voice, and your vision. This is why we've got to tackle it, okay? And we tackle it with curiosity. We go back to the question and then we ask it, but we also have to listen. And beware, because the know-it-all is going to get in there and give you answers like, oh, it could be this, it's this, it's this, it's that, it's that. And you're going to treat that as a conclusion, then you're going to run after it, and you're going to find out it doesn't work. And that's because you've got to listen and then look at what starts to show up, look at what inspires or energizes you, and then do an experiment to see what happens. And that's how we deal with the know-it-all. All right? Now, if you want help in this, you want to defeat your know-it-all, you want to master your curiosity, you want to bring in that job, that love, that relationship, that wealth, that purpose in your life, then the Brilliant Mastermind is for you. I've just opened the doors. I'm accepting applications for it. I'm only accepting 25 people for this 12-month long experiment. It basically comprises of 2 components. There's a 9-week in-depth training I take you through that starts December 1st. And then at the end of that, we start these month-long experiments that involve receiving money. So you get your investment back. That's our first experiment is you invest it, you get your money back. It's one of the first things we do. We did this last year with the 11 people who enrolled then, and it was really fun because half of them got their money back. The other half realized that they didn't want their money back. They wanted their bigger desire back, and they got that too. So not only that was really, really cool. It's fun to watch people succeed in that. So we start with that. Then we do experiments on receiving love and purpose and passion and healing and whatever it is that you want more of in a way that expresses joy for you. So I'm accepting applications now for that. We start December 1st. I'm only accepting 25 people this year. I only open it up once a year. So this is your only time you're going to get into this unless you go through some of my other master trainings, and you might get an invite when you're done with those. Additionally to this, with the mastermind, I am including the Get Closure Now trainings for healing trauma, which has been very, very powerful this year for a lot of people. And you'll get 3 sessions with me on that. So your trauma gets out of the way and you can just kick butt in your brilliance. Okay? So if you're looking for love, you're looking for solutions to problems, new jobs, what to do with your business, how to inspire your life to have more happiness and joy, the Brilliance Mastermind is for you. And I invite you to apply, and then we'll have a short consult. Make sure this is the right fit for you. And if it is, then you'll get your personal invitation to join, and we'll get you signed up. Okay, guys, I appreciate you showing up. Let me know what you got out of today's training. Go out there and defeat your know-it-all by asking a question. And that question is what else is possible now? And let's see what starts to change in your healing and your happiness in your life. Okay, I will see you guys in tomorrow's training. Have a great evening. Bye-bye, guys.